Have you ever spent hours planning something, but never actually started? Maybe you've wanted to learn a new skill, start a YouTube channel, study for an important exam, go to the gym. But then a thought appears. I'll start when I'm fully ready. Tomorrow becomes next week becomes next month, and before you realize it, you're not failing because you tried. You're failing because you never gave yourself permission to begin. Here's something I wish someone had told me earlier. Perfection isn't the reason you're successful. It's the reason you're stuck. Let's talk about why. Most people think perfection is a strength. It sounds responsible. It sounds ambitious. It even sounds disciplined. But most of the time, perfection is just fear wearing a nicer outfit. Fear of making mistakes. Fear of being judged. Fear that people will see you're not as good as you hoped. So instead of taking action, you keep preparing. You watch another video, read another article, buy another notebook, wait for another Monday. It feels productive, but nothing actually changes. Think about the last time you wanted to do something important. How much time did you spend planning compared to actually doing it? Sometimes we confuse movement with progress. Planning feels safe, action feels risky, and our brain almost always chooses safety. Here's something interesting. Look at your favorite creator. Go back to their first video. It's probably awkward. The editing isn't great, the audio isn't perfect, the camera shakes. They weren't confident, but they posted it anyway. Now imagine if they had waited until everything was perfect. You probably wouldn't even know who they are today. Every expert you admire started by looking like a beginner. That's the part social media rarely shows. You only see chapter 20. You compare it to your chapter 1 and somehow expect yourself to match it. That's impossible. Perfection doesn't just steal opportunities, it steals confidence, because confidence isn't built by thinking, it's built by evidence. Every time you finish something, your brain collects proof. I can do hard things. I can improve. I'm capable. But when you never start, your brain collects different evidence. Maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe I'm not talented. Maybe I'll never succeed. Not because it's true, because you never gave yourself the chance to prove otherwise. Imagine two students preparing for the same exam. One studies imperfectly every day. Some days are productive, some aren't, but they keep showing up. The other waits for the perfect study schedule, the perfect mood, the perfect motivation. 3 months later, who do you think has actually improved? Consistency beats perfection every single time. Most people aren't afraid of failure. They're afraid of embarrassment. They're afraid someone will laugh, leave a negative comment, point out a mistake. But here's the truth. People are too busy worrying about themselves. Think about yesterday. How many strangers' mistakes do you remember? Probably none. Exactly. We believe everyone is watching us. In reality, everyone is starring in their own movie. You're just an extra in theirs. Once you understand that, life becomes much lighter. Imagine planting a tree. Would you dig it up every morning just to check if it's growing? Of course not. Growth happens quietly. The same thing is true for your life. You won't become confident after one workout, one study session, one video, one book, but stack enough small actions together and suddenly you're not the same person anymore. Not because of one giant decision, because of hundreds of tiny ones. This is called the compound effect. Small improvements don't feel powerful today. They become powerful because you repeat them tomorrow and the day after that. People often overestimate what they can do in 1 week and completely underestimate what they can do in 1 year. So how do you escape perfection? Start with these 3 habits. First, lower the standard for starting. Don't tell yourself you'll study for 3 hours. Tell yourself you'll study for 5 minutes. Don't promise to write the perfect chapter. Write 1 paragraph. Action creates momentum. Momentum creates motivation, not the other way around. Second, let yourself be bad. Seriously, your first attempt is supposed to be messy. That's not failure. That's the price of learning. Nobody learns to ride a bicycle without wobbling first. Your goals work exactly the same way. Third, measure consistency, not perfection. Instead of asking, "Was today perfect?" ask, "Did I show up today?" Because showing up, even imperfectly, always beats waiting for the perfect moment. If there's one thing I hope you remember after watching this, it's this: your future won't be built by perfect days. It will be built by ordinary days when you choose to keep going anyway. You don't need to become a different person before you start. Starting is what changes you. So tonight, pick one thing you've been postponing, not the biggest task, just one small step. Open the book, write the first sentence, record the first clip, send the application. Do something your future self will quietly thank you for, because progress doesn't belong to the smartest people. It belongs to the people who keep showing up. If this video helped you look at perfection differently, share it with someone who needs to hear this today. And remember, done will always change your life faster than perfect. I'll see you in the next video.